Hey everybody, this is Gold Liger here. I just want to let you know that a new interview from Nintendo Dream about Fire Emblem Warrior devs are shown. This is brought to you by NintendoEverything.com, link in the description. Fire Emblem Warriors devs on female Robin, Cordelia, Pegasus Knights, gameplay, including Fire Emblem elements, and more. Nintendo Dream kept up with its monthly interviews with Fire Emblem Warriors developers in its latest issue. Following the reveals of female Robin and Cordelia, the Japanese magazine spoke with producer Yosuke Hayashi and director Hiroya Usuda. Naturally, the discussion had plenty of discussion about those two characters, including why male Robin was chosen over female Robin for the story. Hayashi and Usuda also discussed things like implementing the Pegasus Knights for gameplay and the difficulties there, incorporating strategic elements from the Fire Emblem franchise, and more. Read our full translation with Hayashi and Usuda below. The details on female Robin getting added. Nintendo Dream, quote, "We'll start straight away, and we like to hear about the newly confirmed appearing characters. You announced characters from Awakening this time, but we'll start with female Robin, or in Japanese, Reflex." Usuda states, "The Robin we told you about before was the male version, but someone said since Robin is an avatar, you must be able to select between male and female after all." Hayashi says, "At the beginning, when we created the story, we also decided to make Robin appear as a male though." Nintendo Dream, why would that be? Hayashi quotes, "Because we also think there are many who would think Robin as a male." Usuda quote, "In the general poll, male Robin also had a higher position, and if I say it further, Korin, or in Japanese Kamui, which is the avatar of the Fates, has the female one with the stronger impression, so that can be point of the contrast." Hayashi quote, "However, in the end, we as players do want to be able to use both male and female versions." Usuda quote, "The Robin that appears in the story has been fixed to be male, but if you progress through a certain replayability feature, there's a system that lets you choose female Robin too." Hayashi quote, "That's one of the benefits from the replay value. In cutscenes and other places, basically Robin will be male, and we will all the voice actors to consider both male and female versions when their character are talking to Robin." Nintendo Dream quote, "Ability-wise, are there no difference between the male and female versions?" Hayashi quote, "That's right, they're not separate characters, so in the total number of appearing characters, male and female Robin are not counted separately." End quote. Cordelia and Chrom, how will their relations be in this game be? Nintendo Dream quote, "And Cordelia, or in Japanese Tiamo, appearing here was such a surprise." Usuda quote, "We announced Cordelia because we want to quickly tell everyone about Pegasus Knights appearing here." ND quote, "How were the details on Cordelia's getting added?" Hayashi quote, "First, for the slot of Pegasus Knight from Awakening, there was also suggested to add Sumiya instead." Usuda quote, "Because there will be Pegasus Knight from other titles too, so if we were to have two of them from Awakening, so what would that reason we add Cordelia appearing instead, since we got more votes in the popular polls?" And quote, "What kind of character will Cordelia be like in this game?" Usuda quote, "She was a character who was really easy to create. Despite being a genius that can do anything, you cannot omit comical words from her, such as her being told that her javelin looks bland. Because her presence is a beauty recognized by anyone, we properly created a model to be beautiful as well." Nintendo Dream quote, What we're wondering about is ultimately her relation with Chrom. Cordelia in Awakening wasn't rewarded in many aspects." Hayashi quote, "That point of not getting rewarded may have been the secret to Cordelia's popularity." Usuda quote, "We have another reason why we decided to add Cordelia, is because we want to write her conversation with Chrom." ND quote, In that case, can fans look forward to the conversation between Crom and Cordelia, which are going to be exclusive in this game? It won't mean that a new relationship between them is going to develop, but I think you'll get to enjoy the situation itself, where those two characters get to talk with each other. End quote. Correlation between the story and appearing characters. Nintendo Dream quote. Among the Awakening members that have been announced, Cordelia is not part of the Shepherds, so her position is also a bit different. How is she going to get involved in the story? Quote. Setting-wise, everybody will already have known each other when they entered the Fire Emblem Warriors world. In order to find Robin, who has gone missing in an unknown land, the other members are exploring the forest and met our protagonists there. Cordelia is out scouting by using her mobility and found Robin getting caught inside a battle at a temple. That's the story development. Quote. Did you think of the game's story after having decided on all appearing characters? Quote. That's right. It also includes points where certain characters will join as partners. Quote. About the original characters who aren't playable, while we were writing the story, we needed a character with a certain role. When those occasions came, we added the new characters. End quote. Fixation on Pegasus Knight's sense of flight. Nintendo Dream quote. We asked about Cordelia, so we like to hear about the Pegasus Knights in general in this game, in more detail. We think that their flight of flying in the sky is a big element. Well, how are you going to make use of that in Fire Emblem Warriors? Quote. While expressing the fact that they are characters who can fly at all times, we've aimed for them to still feel good to play with warrior-style action. We especially had hardships in expressing the sense of flight. If they fly too high, the attacks won't hit in the first place. Either. In the Dream quote, in the original games, they can fly very high after all. Sala quote, ultimately, we made sure that when they attacking with their regular combos, they will fly at a lower altitudes, and then they will moving around, they'll fly higher. Also, if you can juggle the enemies high, you can attack them single-handedly with aerial combos. In this case, it'll be an exclusive place for Pegasus Knights. Hayashi quote, we like to reenact Pegasus Knights' strong habits as a unit here. Musala quote, flying the sky is their advantage, but if you let them go forward while relying on their mobility, there may be some places where they'd struggle. And the quote, I see. Does flying the sky while moving around become their advantage then? Usuda quote, there are shortcuts that can only be taken by Pegasus Knights, such as the deep valleys. You can also do things like having another character ride them with pair up, then cross the valley, and then drop them on the other end. Nintendo Dream quote, were the Pegasus Knights a big factor when you were creating stages? Susala quote, I think the people in charge had hardship there. For example, they could no longer delimit maps and rivers because Pegasus Knights could easily cross rivers by flying. Hayashi quote, if you could fly through anything, it wouldn't become a popular game after all. So we delimit them with mountains and walls that can't be crossed even by Pegasus Knights. Usuda quote, to make it easier to understand that walls cannot be crossed by even Pegasus Knights, we tried to raise their height, but it ended up becoming rather too high. Hayashi quote, the sense of closure is really get great with that one. Usala quote, by the way, in the order screen, we needed the controls to match the cursor on the units, so when we were creating stages, we will write the grid positions first, and then make the map to fit those. End quote. The method of including strategic features exclusive to Fire Emblem. End quote. You were implementing a lot of features exclusive to Fire Emblems in the systems, including the pair-up system, which came up in our discussion just before. Usula quote, when I heard of talks for the Fire Emblem Warriors, the first thing that came up in my head was the image of a character unit icon being lined up on a 2D map. That's exactly what we have in the screen where you give orders in this game. Nintendo Dream, quote, I see. Quote, in the end, you will want to give orders to everyone. Your order things like this character should attack this place or should proceed through this route in order to reproduce that desire that come out when you're playing a Fire Emblem in a Warriors game. We had a system like the weapons triangle, effective damage, character change, and flying units. Warrior games have been about tactical action, so they have superb compatibility with the Fire Emblem strategic elements. End quote. We imagined including elements from the strategy simulation genre of Fire Emblem will be difficult, unlike Zelda, which has a stronger action element from the start, but turns out that is not the case. Usula quote, yes, before we actually move characters in the game, we roll scenarios on paper, draw a map, place allies and enemies there, and discuss things like this character should be proceed like this. We had discussions so deep that we might be able to make a board game with just this. In my opinion, this game has the highest strategy elements strategy element among the Legacy Warriors series. End quote. So there is a need to set up the strategy to properly think about things like the compatibility of the weapon triangle. Quote. However, that is the point where you can have various methods to play it. Hayashi quote, time stops in the pause menu. So if you think deeply like in Fire Emblem, there will be rewards for contemplating it. However, in an action game like Warriors is, I think there are the people who feel stopping time to think will be an instruction picture. In order to fulfill the needs of both Fire Emblem and Warriors fans, we include a system where you can leave characters to move somewhat automatically on their own accord. So, quote, people who aren't good with action can clear it just by thoroughly working on the strategy. Those who want to fully enjoy action can set allies in order to automatically keep on their fighting. Most people will surely be able to find a playthrough method that fits them. Hayashi quote, we also thought not to force things too much. Quote, we consider by having a broad selection of choices in the option settings, like the option to turn the level up scene on or off, which we have talked about in the previous interview. End quote. Please taste the nervousness from the lost permadeath system. End quote. Can you also choose whether characters can be lost or not? Usula quote. It's impossible for a Fire Emblem game to not have a permadeath feature, isn't it? Even in Awakening and Fates, you can choose between casual and classic. Hayashi quote. So we definitely need to put it in. However, in a Warrior series, characters will grow little by little, so having them lost with just an instant mistake would be too harsh. So, although it doesn't mean we're putting in limitation play modes, we do prepare casual and classic modes as one option selection. Usula quote, of course you can also play it on classic and aim to beat the game without making everyone lost. End quote. Can you switch between casual and classic in the middle? Usula quote, if you can change from classic to casual, all lost characters will be revived. Hayashi quote, on the contrary, we made it so that it would be impossible for you to switch from classic to casual, or vice versa. We hope you can choose the mode that fits your playstyle. End quote. For example though, if you lose everyone but the protagonist, then he or she would have to fight all of his/her own, right? Usula quote, of course that will be the case. I had experienced it well in the original Mystery of the Fire Emblem. So I hope you get to taste the nervousness of the battlefield with the lost permadeath system. Hayashi quote, it seems like rescuing a character, you can also opt to intentionally ignore them like in past Warrior games, but I think you'll get the feeling of having to rescue them at any cost. There will also be the need to work on more strategies. Usula quote, you can also heal with staffs, so you use them effectively. End quote. Is the staff one of the weapons here? Usuda Quote, in this game, it will appear as one of the healing items. There is a difference between vulneraries that will heal the characters themselves and stats that will heal allies. End quote. So making precise character changes might be important too. Up to 4 characters can be controlled on the battlefield, but can you sortie 4 or more characters at once? So there are also maps where you can sortie even more allies. The player can control up to 4 of them, and the other allies shall fight by giving orders to them. Furthermore, some maps may have cases where new allies are added in the middle. End quote. Various weapons are appearing from each Fire Emblem game. End quote. Regarding the weapons, there are many weapons based on the original games, like the Armor Slayer. Ursula quote, there are weapons with various traits, from the basic bronze, iron, silver to poleaxe and dragonlance. End quote. So a variety of weapons from each Fire Emblem title will appear here. Ursula quote, however, for the legendary weapons, we limited them only the titles that appear in this game, because those legendary weapons are things that have a meaning in contrast to the characters. End quote. Speaking of which, in the screenshot we have right here, there is a 2-player can participate text. So there is co-op support for TV and tabletop modes. Well, will it be a split screen? Quote, yes, both players can play on the same screen with a split screen. Also, the Switch version supports Joy-Con share play. End quote. I see. This time we heard a lot of things with a focus on the system, but our time is up soon. So please, leave a message for our readers. Ursula quote, I think we'll have a chance to show new videos soon. But please, take a look at the depth of the strategy. I think all of our players will get many chances to find new ways of playing that not even I can think of. The system have an emphasis on strategy, but of course, we're not lagging back on action either. This time, the basic setup is a 1080p resolution at 30 frames per second, but in the options aid, you can also set a 720p resolution with a 60 frames per second option. So I hope all gamers want an emphasis on actions can look at it as well. I actually quote, you have about 1 month until the release, but for the playable characters, we're going to follow up with continuous announcements, so please look forward to them. Other than Fates and Shadow Dragon characters, we still have non-character features we want to talk to you about, so please anticipate them. So this is a massive thanks to Black Kite on Twitter for helping with the translation. And thank you all for listening. Like I said before, like, share, and most importantly, subscribe. Also join the Discord that I'm part of, which is the Select Plus Start Discord. And because it's a fun time, you can talk with me, chat with all my other friends on there about games and stuff and everything else. Anyway, that's all I gotta say. Again, like, share, and most importantly, subscribe and join our Discord. Take care, and as always, you're all part of the pride.